Today we will learn about the standard form equation of a circle. And here it is. X minus h squared plus y minus k squared is equal to r squared. In this equation, the center is the h and the k. Notice it'll be the opposite signs of what you see in the equation. And then the radius is r. So for number one, if I want to know what the center and the radius is, I need to divide everything by 5, so I'll just have x squared and y squared. So let's divide all of these by 5 and see what I get. So that's going to make the equation become x squared plus y squared is equal to 25. Now this 25 is the radius squared. That means the radius must be 5. You can think of it as taking the square root of 25 if you want to find the radius. Now the center, looking back at the formula, it's supposed to be x minus h, y minus k. But I look here, it's just x and y. There's no minus. That must mean that h and k are 0. That's why if I just have x squared and y squared, the center must be 0, 0. Alright, so if I want to graph this, the center is 0, 0. The radius is 5, so that means I can go out 5 in all directions and land on the circle. So it's easiest to just go up, down, left, and right, and then draw that circle. Alright, this graph is somewhat distorted, so there you go. Alright, so that was problem number 1. Take a look at problem number 2. If I want to get rid of this 1/4 business that's happening, I need to multiply everything by 4. If I do that, then these 4's are all going to cancel out. So that's going to leave me with x squared plus y squared is equal to 16. Alright, the radius is going to equal the square root of 16, which of course is 4. The center again is 0, 0, since there's nothing being added or subtracted on there. So again, we can graph this pretty easily. The center is 0, 0, and we go 4 in all directions. So there you go. So that was number 2. Now looking at number 3, I can see the center right here. There's my h and my k. So the center is going to be 2, -1. Notice how it's sort of the opposite of these in terms of the sign. Now this is r squared, remember? So that means that the radius is 3. It's going to be the square root of the 9. Alright, so the center is 2, -1. So I need to go over 2 and down 1. So there's my center. Now the radius is 3, so I'm going to go 3 up, down, left, and right. And I will land on my circle if I do that. Okay, so kabam. So there you go. That's what number 3 should look like. Alright, so here's number 4. The center is going to be 0, 2. The x squared just is going to be 0. And then -2, it's sort of the opposite sign. The radius is going to be 1. Square root of 1 is 1. So 0, 2 would be right here. And then a radius of 1, so I'm just going to go up, down, left, and right. So this is a tiny little circle. So there you go. That's what number 4 should look like. For number 5, I'm supposed to write the equation of a circle with this center and this radius. Well, so the center is 2 comma negative 4, so that leads to x minus 2 squared plus y plus 4 squared. See how I'm doing the opposite sign? That's the key. And then here's got to be radius squared, so that's just going to be 25. Now, for number 6, same type of thing, x minus 5 squared plus y minus 8 squared. Alright, so I just need to slow down when I do the radius squared here. So the only question is, how do I square this thing? Well, if I wanted to do it by hand, I would just go, 2 squared is 4. Radical 15 squared is 15. So it's just a matter of what's 4 times 15. Alright, well, 2 times 15 is 30. So 4 times 15 is 60. Alright, so this is going to be 60. Now, if you have your TI-30XS multi-view, you could just do 2 radical 15 and square it. Alright? Either way. So, number 7. So I'm going to have x plus 3 squared plus y minus 2 squared. Again, so far I'm doing the opposite signs right here. And again, right here I could square this if I wanted to do it by hand. 7 squared is 49. Radical 5 squared is 5. Now, I'm not sure what that is off the top of my head. But 49 times 5 is 245. Or I could have just squared 7 radical 5 on my calculator. So if I have 7 radical 5, I can square it. Either way, you get 245. Write the equation of a circle with this center that passes through this point. Okay. Well, let's start off like we did the other problems. If this is the center, then I know I'm going to have x minus 1 squared plus y minus 2 squared is equal to. Now, I don't know the radius right now, so I'm just going to put radius squared. So this is what I have so far based on this. Now, when they give me a point, they are giving me an x and a y. So I can just take that x and y and substitute it in. So I can take this 0 and put it in for x, and I can take this negative 3 and put that in for y. Alright, so if I do that, if I put in the 0 right here and the negative 3 right here, then that gives me 0 minus 1 squared plus negative 3 minus 2 squared is equal to the radius squared. So I'm just going to simplify this and see what I get for r. Well, 0 minus 1 is just negative 1. Negative 1 squared is positive 1. Negative 3 minus 2 is negative 5. Alright, negative 5 squared is positive 25. So this is 1 plus 25. So that's going to be 26 is equal to the radius squared. I don't actually want r. I'm not going to take the square root like I might be tempted to. Remember, in the equation, the equation for circle features r squared. So you actually want to leave it as r squared because that's what goes here, r squared. Alright, so r squared is 26. So I can just put the 26 in for r squared and be done. So that's why the final answer is going to be, okay, going back to the beginning, alright, x minus 1 squared plus y minus 2 squared, but now I know that r squared is 26. Alright, notice that it is not radical 26, it's just 26. Alright, number 9, same type of thing. Alright, if you just watched me do number 8 and sort of copied off me, which you shouldn't be doing, make sure you stop the video and do number 9 by yourself. Stop your copying. You should be ashamed of yourselves. So writing the equation. So I've got, when I see that's negative, well, you know this, never mind. So obviously I'm doing the opposite sign. So x plus 2 and then y minus 3 squared is equal to the radius squared. Alright, so once again, this is an x and a y that they are giving me. So I'm going to take this 1 and I'm going to put that in for the x, and I'm going to take this 5 and I'm going to put that in for the y. So I'm going to have this 1 and this 5 right there. So that's going to give me 1 plus 2 squared plus 5 minus 3 squared is equal to the radius squared. So that's going to give me 3 squared plus 2 squared is equal to the radius squared. So that's 9 plus 4. So that's 13. Again, I will not take the square root. I don't want r. I want r squared. So I'm going to leave it as 13. So the equation of the circle is going to be x plus 2, alright, just like I already wrote in the first place, x plus 2 squared plus y minus 3 squared is equal to 13. Alright, number 10 is basically the same thing one more time. Write equation of the circle. So we have x minus 7 squared plus, now as soon as I see the 0, I'm just going to put y squared is equal to the radius squared. And one more time, when they give us a point, they're giving us an x and a y. So I could take this x value of 2 and put that in right there, and I could take this y value of 8 and put that in right there. Okay, so that's going to give me a 2 here and 8 here. So that means I have 2 minus 7 squared plus 8 squared is equal to the radius squared. 2 minus 7 is negative 5. Okay, get used to putting it in parentheses so that you'll remember to make it a positive 25, not a negative. Okay, so I've got my 8 squared is equal to the radius squared. So like I said, this will be a positive 25, and then 64 is equal to the radius squared. So that's going to be 89 is the radius squared. And we're going to leave it just like that because radius squared is what we want. So the equation is going to be x minus 7 squared plus y squared is equal to 89. Alright, just a couple more examples. So given this equation and this sort of half of a point, alright, we've got the point 3 comma y, but we're given the 3 but not the y because we're supposed to find y. So how are we going to do that? Alright, well, even though this is a variable, okay, still they're giving us an x value right here. They're not, this is x and y, so they're giving us x, so let's use what they gave us. So I'm going to take this x value of 3 and plug it in. So I'm going to have a 3 right there. So that's going to give me 3 minus 1 squared plus y plus 1 squared is equal to 20. So this only has one variable in it, so I should be able to solve for y. 3 minus 1 is 2, so this gives me 2 squared plus y plus 1 squared is equal to 20. Of course, 2 squared is 4, so that gives me 4 plus y plus 1 squared is equal to 20. Time to subtract 4 from both sides, so minus 4 minus 4. So that's going to give me y plus 1 squared is equal to 16. Now, the easiest thing to do is to unsquare this by taking the square root of both sides. So if I do that, the most common mistake right now would be to forget your plus or minus. When you're solving an equation and you take the square root of both sides, the solution can be positive or negative. Okay, so that's going to give us y plus 1, alright, the radical unsquares this, is equal to plus or minus 4. So the last step, well, it's almost the last step, we will subtract 1 from both sides, putting this negative 1 in the front. Okay, so now I'm going to bring this up over here. So we're trying to find y, and we're almost there. So I have y is equal to negative 1 plus or minus 4. So this means two different things. It means negative 1 plus 4 or negative 1 minus 4. Negative 1 plus 4 is 3. Negative 1 minus 4 is negative 5. So 3 or negative 5. Okay, number 12 is pretty much the same thing. So if you just watched me do number 11, or heaven forbid you copied off of me, by all means stop the video and do problem number 12 by yourself and see how you do. Okay, well, they are giving me a y value because, x comma y. So I'm going to take this y value of negative 2 and I'm going to plug that in. Okay, right there. Alright, so I've got this negative 2 sitting there. So that's going to give me, so I've got this negative 2 plus 3 squared equals 2. Okay, so I'm just putting in negative 2 for y. Hold on, that's a little messy. Alright, this only has one variable in it, so I should be able to solve for x like I'm supposed to. So that's going to give me x plus 5 squared plus negative 2 plus 3 is 1. So this is just 1 squared. Alright, of course 1 squared is just 1. And then I need to subtract 1 from both sides. So that's x plus 5 squared is equal to 1. And then I will take the square root of both sides to unsquare this. do not forget your plus or minus whenever you take the square root of both sides. So that's going to give me x plus 5 is equal to plus or minus 1. So then when I subtract 5 from both sides, I put the negative 5 in the front. So I will have x equals negative 5 plus or minus 1. Now this means two separate things. Alright, it's negative 5 plus 1 or negative 5 minus 1. Negative 5 plus 1 is negative 4. Negative 5 minus 1 is negative 6. So I've got negative 4 or negative 6. Alright, that's going to do it for this video. I hope it was a helpful one for you guys, and I will see you on the next video.